What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to CigarsideChats. My name is Felipe, and today I'll be reviewing the Plasencia Ehtëfal. Now, the Ehtëfal was released in 2022, the day before the World Cup, and it has a Nicaraguan jalapa binder, a Honduran wrapper, and Nicaraguan fillers. And the tobaccos inside the filler and the binder are said to be aged for 10 years. Now, this came out again in 2022, so at the time of smoking this, it's got about 11 and a half years age on those tobaccos, and the MSRP for this cigar is $65, and the word Ehtëfal means celebration in Arabic, and it was a cigar to celebrate everyone coming together in Qatar for 2022 World Cup. Now, it's not a World Cup exclusive, it was more of a celebration of all the nations coming together. I want to give Eric, smoke one if you have one, a huge shout out. He sent this to me months ago, and of course, Ehtëfal, meaning celebration, I wanted to hold on to it and smoke it on a special occasion. And since this week I'm celebrating another trip around the sun, I wanted to smoke something special. So I'm really excited for this. Eric, thank you so much. I'm gonna have Eric's information down below. He's incredibly generous for sending this and some other incredible cigars, but I figured that it's finally time, and I know a lot of guys really enjoy this cigar, and it's pretty hard to find if you do find it. Recently though, I did see a few people get a few boxes, which I don't know how or where, but they only made 5,000 boxes of these, and I believe only half of that was brought into the US. I'm gonna go ahead and get this cut up and we'll jump right into it. One thing I was also reading about is that this is a sun-grown jalapa wrapper, and I'm really curious about that. It's got an absolutely perfect draw. On a cold draw, I'm just getting some really funky aged tobacco. These bands, I think this is one of the most beautiful cigar bands I've ever seen. By far one of my favorites, and that was another thing. I really didn't want to light this up because it's such a beautiful cigar to look at. And I remember when Roger from Working Man Cigars reviewed it, that's one thing he said. He's like, I didn't want to light it up because it's just a beautiful, I love the colors, I love the three bands, and that alone is absolutely incredible. So all right, I got this lit up here. So right at light up here, incredible. Again, you can taste that aged tobacco, and it's really, it's got a little funk to it. It started off sweet, and there's on the retrohale, there's a little bit of pepper. I always refer to that sweetness and that pepper more of like a pepper jelly, and the smoke is creamy, and on the back end there's some woody flavors as well. And I'm looking forward to this thing picking up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and smoke this down to the first third, and I'll get back to you guys with my thoughts. Finishing up the first third here, and so far it's been incredible. The first third has a nice brown sugar sweetness, and I'm getting tons of bready notes as well, with some baking spices with a nice cedar undertone. Really enjoying this profile so far. It's a sweet cigar, the profile, which I absolutely love, and it is smoking great. So I'm curious to see what the second third here holds. I'm going to continue smoking it, and I'll get back to you guys after the second third. So I'm finishing up the second third here, and the burn is a little uneven, and the wrapper on this corner here is starting to peel away a little bit, but it's not a big deal. It's been smoking fine. I'm going to touch it up after this, but as far as the flavors, man, on the second third here, tons of floral note. I was getting that in the first third. I don't know if I forgot to mention that, but it's a floral note. And then there's the breadiness really intensified, and there's like this salty sweet balance. It reminds me of like caramel candy, where you're getting that saltiness, but also there's a sweet finish to it. And with the bready notes, and I'm still getting some of that woodiness, and it is smoking great. The flavors are outstanding. There's a funkiness to this, and I mentioned it in my previous video. There's a certain note from aged tobacco that the best thing I could say, it's kind of funky in the best way possible for me, right? I really enjoyed that. So this is really doing it for me. So I'm gonna touch it up here. I'm gonna continue smoking it down, but right now I'm happy I went with this to celebrate, and the hype is real for me at least. And it's kind of sad because they're really hard to find, and if you do find them, they're incredibly expensive. But yeah, I'm excited to see where it takes me here on the final third. I'll come back with my final thoughts, and we'll wrap it up. I did touch it up here a bit, and one thing I did want to point out, I did make sure that this was perfectly dry boxed, and it was reading on the cap 62% RH, which for me is my sweet spot. I really enjoy my cigars around 62, 61 RH on the cap. The way it's smoking right now, it hasn't given me any issues. Touching up cigars isn't a big deal for me. You know, I have a single torch that I go ahead and touch up. I actually get pretty OCD with it. I don't know if you guys are like that too, but I like to have a nice burn throughout. An ideal world, of course, it would burn perfectly even, but sometimes it just, you know, you just got to go in and touch it up. But right now it's not taking away from the experience because I am enjoying it, but I do want to point it out. Well, editing Felipe here, and a huge fail, but it seems my microphone turned off on that last clip without me noticing it. But I wanted to give you guys my final thoughts. The final third was really, really good. Got a ton of sweetness, and that aged tobacco funkiness really was shining on the final third. Incredible experience throughout, and it really was an experience. Now, as far as would I buy this cigar again, I wouldn't buy a box, and the reason for that is not because it's not a good cigar, it's the price point. $650, well, I can't justify that, especially not with daycare prices today. However, if given the opportunity, I would definitely pick up one or two. It's one of the cigars I would keep on just for a special occasion, let it sit, let it age, and see how it goes. But really sweet profile, incredible experience. Thank you again, Eric, for the opportunity and for sending this over. I really appreciate it. I'll have Eric's information down below. He makes YouTube content and he posts a ton of videos. Really cool guy. And thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.